Hey, Leanne here from Real Gal Experience, and I just got back from a little afternoon paddleboarding session, and I was about to hop in the shower, and I was thinking about something that kind of came across my mind while I was out on the lake, and I decided to, at the expense of everyone around me, to postpone my shower for a minute to make this video. And I was out there thinking about simply how I was getting better at paddleboarding. I'm actually learning how to do it on the water. I did it a couple times about a year ago, and that was it. And so I did like it, but the skill of paddleboarding is something that I am not skilled at. So as I'm out there learning, this is my second day having the paddleboard. I rented one, and I have to bust my ass, and I have to lose my balance, and I have to just make all the mistakes that beginners make at any new skill. And as I was getting a little bit better each day, and I went out there a few different times yesterday, I realized that every time I got better at paddleboarding, and my definition of better was it was simply the paddleboard was going where I wanted it to go, and I wasn't getting so tired and exhausted with every single stroke. And so increasing or improving a skill has a few different factors in it. And in this case, it happened to be getting where I actually wanted to go, and also how easy it was for me to get there. And I was just kind of running that around in my mind, and it's no different than anything else that we're going after. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you're working on your own personal development or self-esteem, confidence, maybe you're working on some extra education or certifications or anything like that, maybe you're just trying to improve relationships in your life. Whatever it is, there's different components to a skill, and just because you do it doesn't mean that you're going to be good at it if you don't focus on how well you're doing it. It's the same thing with movement. Going and working out and getting in your workout, just fitting it in, that's one thing, the doing part of it. But how are you actually doing it? What's the quality like? How much are you enjoying it? What's the experience like? And so that's going to dictate whether or not you go out and do it again. Because if you hate it, you're not going to do it. And one of the things in terms of building skills, it's all just a matter of repetition. How much does your brain know what you're doing, and your brain get the hang of it and catch on and figure out how to do things more effectively and efficiently. And it's not just a matter of doing it more. The quality of what you're doing matters. And so as I was out there on the paddleboard, I found I wasn't getting mad at myself every time I steered one direction and the board went another. And I wasn't getting mad at myself every time I was like, and catching a breath. And I did have to do that. I had to get out on my knees, and a couple times I just laid down on the board in the middle of the lake, and plenty of sunscreen, don't worry. And but I wasn't getting mad at myself. But in terms of other things in my life where I might give myself shit or just judge or blame myself, things like goal setting, oh, I should be there by now, or I shouldn't be having to work this hard, or why is it so hard for me? The things that we all say to ourselves when we're in the midst of a struggle or facing resistance, we start to kind of look at ourselves like, what are we doing wrong? What's wrong with me? Why is this so hard for me? But in something like paddleboarding, where I have no emotional attachment to it, I found myself not getting frustrated with myself, not looking at the resistance and saying, oh, I'm just not good at paddleboarding yet. It didn't, it wasn't a personal attack on my ego if I'm not good at paddleboarding yet. And so I wanted to just share that with you because I'm doing it in my life a lot. I find, just past stories show up. So I wanted to help you create an awareness of where you might be doing that in your life, where you're facing resistance in something that you're doing. Maybe it's just the road getting there is a little bit harder than it has been, or than you thought it should be or thought it would be. Where are you turning it around on yourself and kind of blaming yourself, not being very kind to yourself, and getting really frustrated because you're not amazing at a skill after one day? So I wanted to also impress upon the fact that everything that you're doing that you're not necessarily good at right now is a skill. Everything's a skill that you can acquire. And I won't get into the neurology of it all right now, of how anybody can acquire any new skill with enough repetition and perfect repetitions, but that's a whole nother video on its own. But just keep in mind, don't beat yourself up because you're just learning a skill. You don't ride a bike after one time on the bike. You don't speak Spanish fluently after one class. So give yourself a break if you fall down or create a flop of some sort along your way, and just look at it like, hey, you know what? That's all part of the learning process. So I need to take that advice just as much as the next person. I'm a real gal in progress as well, but I hope that little awareness that I came up with while I was out on the lake helps you shed some light on something where maybe you might have been facing a little bit of self-resistance, a little bit, maybe feeling a little bit stuck. So I'll talk to you soon.